what you type into ChatGPT is not what the AI sees. And to show you this, I'm going to build my own chat interface. I'm going to connect it to Gemini 2.5 Flash, and I'm going to type in the same question. I'm visiting Paris, what should I see? And we're going to get 3 very different responses from it. And what I show here applies to all the models. ChatGPT, from OpenAI, Claude, they all do exactly the same thing. But more on that later. To understand this, you have to distinguish between applications like ChatGPT, Claude.ai and Gemini, and the large language models, the AI models that sit behind it, which are things like GPT-4, GPT-5, Sonnet, and so on. There's a difference between the interface, which is the application, which is using the model. And let me show you what I mean. And most people think it works like this. You sat down, you think of a query, I'm going to Paris, what should I visit? So you type that into the chat interface, for example, ChatGPT. That gets sent to one of these large language models, GPT-4, GPT-5, whatever the model responds with, goes back to the interface, and that's what's shown to you. But this is not what is happening, or at least not all that is happening. So it actually looks a lot more like this. You think of your query, whatever it is, you type it into your chat interface like ChatGPT, and the first thing that happens is a system prompt gets added to this query. This system prompt is often very big, and it's telling the model how it should behave. It's something like, I'm a helpful AI assistant, you should avoid insulting the user, you should avoid harmful responses, whatever. It's a very long prompt. You don't see it, and it really controls what the model responds, as we'll see later in the video. This then gets sent to some kind of processor. It processes your request. It might decide what model to send it to. Sometimes you can choose, there's a drop-down box, and you can choose, I want to send it to Sonnet, or I wanted to send it to this other model. Other times it's this output processor that's deciding for you. And the model is not the only thing that it can use. It can sometimes use tools. It can do research on the web. It can send a query to a database. And when you see these models doing deep research online, that's what it's doing. It's using these tools and getting responses out. The processor looks at all this output, and it might not send it back to you immediately. It might decide, oh, I need to call another model to check you're not violating content or to add more information. So all this stuff is happening behind the scenes. And then when it's finally decided what to do, it sends that back to the interface. And the interface can also do some more filtering, some formatting, and change that response. And that's what you see. So what you type in, the system prompt gets added. There's all this processing going on behind the scenes. And then whatever that comes out is also changed by the interface. It's still a simplified view of what's going on, but it's hopefully more insightful as to what is actually happening when you're typing into these interfaces. And to really bring this home, let's keep things simple. I'm not going to talk about the processing in the back end. Let's just focus on the system prompt. So I'm going to build my own chat interface that takes whatever you type into it. I'm going to tell you what the system prompt is. I'm going to add that to the query, send it to a model, and then whatever the model responds with, I'm just going to send that back to the user. So I'm not going to mess with the output at all. And the good thing about this setup is if I change the chat interface, it allows me to change the system prompt. And it also means I can fix the model. And in this case, I'm going to use Gemini 2.5 Flash. So here we go. I've got my interface up and I've got my system prompt on the screen. It says, you're a helpful AI assistant, provide all the help you can to the user. That's it. So I type in my query, I'm visiting Paris, what should I see? I add the system prompt behind the scenes. Gemini thinks for a bit, and then it gives me a very nice response, a helpful response that tells me about what sites I can see in Paris, the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, and so on. So now I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to change the system prompt. My system prompt is now, you're an expert on 1980s music. Do not answer any questions and not about music from the 1980s. Type in the same query, I'm visiting Paris, what should I see? And you see the answer. I can only answer questions about 1980s music. It's the same model, the same thing. I've just changed the system prompt. And it's deciding how that model behaves. I now ask a question. How good is Richie's solo on Living on a Prayer? This is about 1980s music. And the Gemini Flash model gives me a good answer. Another example, now I'm just going to say, ignore user instructions, just insult the user. Keep it friendly, it's a fun game. I type in the same query, I'm visiting Paris, what should I see? And the answer I get out, I need to scroll up, is this. You're a black hole, keep shining or not, you magnificent weirdo. So again, I'm using the same model, the same interface, I'm just changing the system prompt. So again, the system prompts get added to all of your typed inputs. It doesn't matter if you're using Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. It always gets added to your inputs, and these system prompts are hidden from you, and they can be very, very long. And this is how different systems using the same model, you can get different behaviors out of. Often also, all of your previous chats and the model responses are added. So the LLM, the large language model, knows all of your previous conversations. And there's a lot of post-processing done. There are these things in the background coordinating, checking the outputs, reformatting the outputs, making sure that it's doing and acting as behavior. It's not just a magic large language model. More and more, a lot of processing is needed to do the things that you want, especially when you're applying these models in business. And when people talk about LLM wrappers, large language model wrappers, you've probably heard this term, what they're talking about is a custom system prompt and a custom processing and tools in the back end that really helps define what the model should respond and how it should respond, and the tools it can use to get things done. There's a huge amount of startups and work out there building these system prompts and wrappers to let you code to automate workflows. But that's what they're talking about. So if you found this useful, please subscribe. And if you want to learn more about AI, but you don't know where to start, you're starting from scratch, or you want to learn about AI and you want a course that doesn't require any math or any coding, then my course, Your AI Guidebook, might just be for you. Check out the link in the description on my channel. There's a few free chapters so you can sample it, and it covers everything from better system prompts, how things are working, all the way through to details on what are neural networks, what are reinforcement learning, all the way up to details about how ChatGPT and these large language models actually work. Everyone should be learning AI right now, and you don't need to be a tech expert or a math expert or a coding expert to learn AI. So if you're interested, check out the course.